Peace, y'all. This is Shofar from Full Show Energy Work, and I'm here to talk to you today about particles and waves. So this is my attempt. The purpose of the video is my attempt to explain, maybe in a little bit more scientific way, or a theoretical scientific way, if you will, about why the energy works. So just diving into it, we have a branch of science that has become more and more prevalent, that's become more and more, I guess you would say, verified, or, people are beginning to believe in it more. And even though a lot of it is still in a more theoretical form, it is getting more credence and credibility. And so, I mean, let's take into effect, to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, but some of the things to be hold to be fundamental, like black holes and gravity, for a long time, these things were theory, and I could be wrong, but I don't know that these things have been proven without a doubt to actually be what we have been taught that they are. And so, when we first heard about black holes back, somewhere in the 60s or something like that, or whatever, with Einstein and whatever, that was theoretical. It wasn't that we had actually found that they exist. So just keep that in mind. So with that being said, though, in the branch of quantum physics, there is an idea that, first off, that a particle, or say a photon, or I believe it may even be some subatomic particles that make up atoms, that they can be in more than one place at one time. That's pretty deep. And then on another level, there's another train of thought that a atom or a photon, that they can be both a particle and a wave at the same time, or act as both of them, depending on, and to check this out, because we've been told by the ancients, the ancient people of Kemet and India and different places, that the universe is mental, or that the universe is self-aware. It's another way to put it. With that being said, if we check out the book, The Holographic Universe, very good book. I love it because it actually starts off with a lot of quantum physics and deep science type stuff, and then it goes into a more spiritual place towards the end of the book. And it basically shows that these shamans and quantum physicists and stuff are actually saying the same thing, just in different language, different terms, but they're more or less talking about the same understanding of reality. And so in that book, though, they talk about how they've done experiments. They've done experiments where you look at that if you take a subatomic particle or atom or something and you fire it at something, if you fire it out through this machine, if it's not being observed by the scientists, it will actually act more like a wave. But if it is being looked at by the scientists, then it will act as a particle. So what is that saying? How do we decode that? What does that mean? Well, it's like this. That means that if there's some truth to that or whatever, that the world around us, though we think of it as solid, in actuality, if everything is made up of atoms, as we're told, and if they can act as both particle and waves, then it means that when our mind, again, in my last video about alchemizing porn addiction, I talked about the gatekeeper. If the gatekeeper, who has been programmed that everything in this world is solid, rocks and desks and, jumbo jets and shit, everything is a solid, it's like, okay, and it will keep that reality, because remember that we are God beings. So the deeper we can go into ourselves and know, the more that we can play with reality. But when we don't have that inner and understanding of ourselves, then it defaults to what our ancestors believe and what the collective of human beings on the planet believe at this current time. And the general consensus, the general interpretation of reality right now is that this shit is solid, you know. But when we start to go deep enough into ourselves, and the gatekeeper kind of is allowed to ease up a little bit and maybe even join the party, as my love Kirti says, is that we actually allow the gatekeeper to start joining in the fun a little bit and ease up a little bit on what reality is, and have a new interpretation and give it a broader sense of what reality is. I mean, we don't want to do it too much, because then we might be out on the street homeless and, you know, speaking quote unquote out of our mind, right? You know, I think that's what's happened to some of these people, is that they actually have a very broad spectrum of what's going on, but without a filter. If the gatekeeper done got drunk or high or some shit, then what happens is that we're getting too many channels at one time, and we can't hone in on this small spectrum that we currently, as the collective of human beings, call reality. So anyway, but if we want to let in a safe way, you know, allow the gatekeeper to chill a little bit, and when that happens, now the things that we say are particles can now act as waves. So what does that mean? It now means that where we say that if I touch if you touch your lover's body, say you touch some place that's not even associated with the genitals, but you can send a wave, a tsunami sometimes, down to the genitals or up to the breast, even though you're on a part of the body that has nothing to do with the breast, you know, because if we start to look at this reality as what I think it really is, or what I feel or know that it really is that we are energy beings. And even as I'm speaking, the waves are going out. You know, there's waves of, if we could see atomically what's going on, and how the sound is coming out of your phone and hitting your eardrum and making it vibrate and sending that through your body and everything. There's a resonance and stuff that's going on. There's all these other things that are going on play with the energy hitting our eyes and cornea and then vibrating back to the brain. We live in an energy world, and allowing ourselves to go deeper into that, and there's no end to how deep we can go into that. So this is how the energy works, if we're talking about it in a scientific way. To say it more succinctly, is that when we allow our mind to go into a trance like state, the rules of what reality is bends, and what was once a particle now becomes a wave. And when we start playing with the waves, those orgasmic waves can start going through the body, even in ways that we don't usually associate with pleasure, or that we usually associate with being possible. Now we've expanded what pleasure and love can actually feel like, and what can show up, because we're not given the limited definition of what reality is. And even to the place of, it doesn't even have to be in the same room. We actually do sessions, energy work sessions over Zoom now, you know, in Skype. And how is that possible? Well, again, remember at the beginning where I said that they said that subatomic particles could be in more than one place at one time. And if they're in more than one place at one time, and they are acting as a wave, if I feel a wave here, and another person is in Tokyo, but they're in a place of allowing themselves to feel, and that's the key thing. We have to be in a receptive state. Now, what I feel, they can feel, because of what, you know, they talk about string theory and this wave thing. So there's a lot of amazing things going on with the technology that we call beings or humans, that we are still yet to explore. Right now is April 2020. So right now is a perfect time for us to be exploring it, because of being a fucking lockdown in this motherfucker, with the quarantine and everything. It's a perfect time to go deeper into some of these things. So just wanted to make this video, especially for people who maybe have an inclination to be more, science-minded about these things. I just wanted to bring in, by no means am I a scientist or anything like that, but maybe this may still resonate with you and draw a bridge that can maybe lead to some understanding, understanding, and overstanding. With that, y'all, I appreciate y'all checking this out. If you liked it, please, if you have some other comments on it or some other understandings and things that you've come to about this, leave that down in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share it. And again, I'm Shofar from Faux Show Energy Work. I do coaching for couples and singles. I do energy work for couples and singles. I have a book, Soul Sacred Orgasmic Living, and do a series of workshops right now while we are on this lockdown and everything, actually doing those online, Hip Hop Kundalini and Intimate Relating. Got some other ones in the works as well. So anyway, I appreciate y'all. And if you have any questions or anything else, you can reach out to me on Instagram and things as well. Y'all keep shining, keep climbing. Peace.